Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a story that really kicks off with something quite simple, almost mundane. An anonymous note, just signed Papa, asking this grieving man, Mac, to go back to the absolute worst place imaginable for him, this dilapidated shack.
It's such a compelling hook, isn't it? That immediate mystery and dread mixed together.
Exactly. So our deep dive today, it isn't just about retelling the story of William Paul Young's novel, The Shack. We want to unpack how Mac's, unimaginable tragedy actually becomes this radical pathway.
A path to understanding God, suffering, forgiveness, things that are incredibly difficult to grapple with.
Right. And for those of you who know the book well, we're hoping to maybe offer some fresh insights, perhaps a new way to look at its messages, and maybe even your own experiences. So let's set the scene a bit. Think about Mac. He's described as a doer, not really a talker. He carries this immense weight inside him, what the book calls the great sadness.
And that sadness has deep roots, doesn't it? An abusive father in his past, and then, of course, the loss that defines him later.
Absolutely. And then comes the catalyst. He slips on ice, hits his head, and finds this cryptic note in his mailbox from Papa, inviting him back to the shack.
And Papa is key here. It's Nan, his wife's affectionate name for God.
Right. So
Yeah.
getting a note signed Papa, asking him to go to this place of horror, it just throws him into turmoil, especially since his seminary training basically said God stopped direct messages like that.
It's fascinating because his past trauma, especially with his own father, immediately colors how he sees this note. It's not instantly comforting.
No, not at all.
Our experiences, they really shape how we perceive God or mystery or anything like that. For Mac, this idea of a loving Papa figure connected to God is, well, it's suspect, threatening even. And
Yeah.
that really sets up the core question right from the start. How do you square immense, world-shattering suffering with the idea of a loving, present God? That's what Mac has to confront.
And what a confrontation it becomes. The great sadness, it all centers on Missy's disappearance, doesn't it? That
Yeah.
heartbreaking event. Remember the camping trip? Wallowa Lake, Labor Day weekend with the younger kids, and that scene under the stars. Missy asks Mac about the Multnomah princess legend.
Yeah, those incredibly profound questions. Is the Great Spirit another name for God? And then how come he's so mean? Especially about sacrifice.
Gut-wrenching. And Mac assures her, no, Missy, he would never ask you to do anything like that, which, of course, becomes just devastatingly ironic hours later.
The foreshadowing is heavy there.
Totally. So after the canoe accident, Josh is saved. There's that moment of relief, but it vanishes instantly. Missy's not at the campsite.
The dread sets in.
And then the discovery, that little ladybug stick pin, 5 dots, the engraving CK-146.
The link to the little lady killer. Chilling.
It confirms the worst. Missy's presumed murdered. Her body isn't recovered, which just amplifies Mac's grief, his sense of failure. It cements the great sadness.
And that lack of recovery, that unresolved grief, it's psychologically brutal. There's no closure, no finality. It just magnifies his feeling of failure, traps him in that awful if-only game.
Right, constantly replaying it.
Yeah, it's a really common response to trauma. You just torture yourself trying to find a different path in the past.
Yeah.
And it isolates him even more, pushes him further from any sense of faith.
So when he does go back to the shack eventually,
He's not going for comfort. He's going with rage, despair. He's ready to confront what he sees as this, indifferent God. He wants a fight.
and he gets one.
Yeah.
Just not the kind he imagined. He gets to the shack. It's still cold, dilapidated, awful, and he just loses it.
Unleashes everything.
Yeah, destroys what he can. That collapses right there on that blood stain, the last trace of Missy. Falls asleep in utter despair.
And then the shift.
He wakes up, and everything's changed. The shack is beautiful, warm, light, flowers, music, like his best dream, the book says.
An impossible transformation.
And then he sees them, 3 figures. And they claim to be God.
Which is where it gets really unconventional.
Right. There's Papa, this large, warm black woman, maybe a bit of a mischievous sense of humor, scars on her wrists. Then Jesus looks like a Middle Eastern laborer. Jeans, plaid shirt, just ordinary. Not the striking figure Mac expected.
Definitely not the Renaissance painting image.
No. And Yu, a small Asian woman who seems to shimmer, hard to really focus on. Her hair moves even without a breeze, and she collects tears in a crystal bottle.
These depictions are so powerful because they smash those traditional stereotypes. Mac even admits he pictured the large white grandfather figure like Gandalf.
Yeah.
So presenting Papa as a black woman with scars, Jesus as this regular guy, Sarayu as this ethereal, shimmering presence. It just breaks down those rigid ideas we have about God.
Makes it more personal.
Exactly. Dehumanizes the divine, maybe.
Yeah.
Allows for a connection that's less formal, more immediate. Sarayu especially, with the shimmering and collecting tears. It feels like a beautiful representation of the Holy Spirit, mysterious, comforting, actively present in our pain.
Aki even asked, right, like, is this a real indwelling, not just some theological idea?
Yeah, he immediately senses this is experiential. It's not just theory anymore.
And that shift from theory to experience is where everything starts to change for Mac. He dives right in, challenging them, challenging himself, like with Papa. He struggles to call her Papa.
Because of his own father.
Exactly. That trauma runs deep, but her offer is so gentle, so radical. If you let me, Mac, I'll be the Papa you never had. It's redefining fatherhood, divinity, everything.
It's aiming right at his deepest wound.
And he pushes back. He asks her straight up, if you couldn't take care of Missy, how can I trust you to take care of me? Raw honesty.
And her answer isn't a magic fix. It's relationship. That's what she offers.
Yeah, no magic wand, just relationship. She even jokes kind of, my love is a lot bigger than your stupidity, with a wink. It's this strange mix of grace and bluntness.
That redefinition of Papa, moving beyond the flawed human father to a divine healing presence, is just crucial. It suggests God isn't about control or preventing pain, but about being with us in it.
And that line, I will use every choice you make for the ultimate good.
That's a huge statement about providence. Not like God pulls the strings, but that God is committed to redeeming everything, even our mistakes, for a loving outcome.
And he spends time with Sarayu in this garden. And she tells him the garden, this messy, wild place. That's his soul.
Wild and beautiful and perfectly in process. What a way to look at ourselves.
And she says she loves the mess. Then she explains the tree of knowledge of good and evil, not just as breaking a rule, but as humanity choosing to define good and evil for itself, based on what feels good, what feels secure.
And that choice, she says, tore the universe apart. It puts the responsibility back on human choices, in a way.
And then she drops this idea, God is a verb, moving away from static ideas like responsibility or expectation to dynamic actions like ability to respond or expectancy. She says hierarchy destroys relationships.
God is a verb. That's such a powerful phrase. It shifts God from being this distant, unchanging noun to an active, present, relational force.
Like constantly in motion.
Yeah, implies action, engagement. It calls us to participate, doesn't it? Not just believe doctrines, but engage in this active relationship. It's about a way of being.
And she says Mac doesn't need rules, lists of do's and don'ts. He needs to look for relationship, a way of coming to be with us.
Which connects directly back to Papa's offer of relationship over magic wands. It's a consistent theme.
And then with Jesus, Mac gets to walk on water.
An incredible moment.
And Jesus is so casual, like, come on, Mac, if Peter can do it.
Yeah.
Mac finds this joy, this realization. This always works better when we do it together.
Partnership, not just observation.
But the real bombshell is when Jesus says, I'm not a Christian.
Whoa. Yeah, that line stops you.
He says his followers come from everywhere. Buddhists, Mormons, Baptists, Muslims, Democrats, Republicans, even murderers and self-righteous people. He doesn't want to make them Christian. He wants to make them sons and daughters of Papa.
It completely challenges the idea of exclusive labels, doesn't it?
Totally. He said, I will travel any road to find you.
It suggests that following Jesus is bigger than any one religion or institution. It's about transformation, relationship with Papa, transcending those human divisions we create. It's not dismissing Christianity, maybe, but seeing the core mission as broader.
A much bigger tent.
A much bigger tent. It's about love finding you wherever you are.
This bigger view gets tested, though. Mac meets Sophia, personified wisdom of Papa, stunning, regal woman.
And she brings the judgment, but not in the way you'd expect.
No. Mac is asked to judge God and humanity, and he just lets loose. Yes, God is to blame. For Missy, all that pain comes pouring out.
Understandably.
But Sophia's response,
Wow.
your world is severely broken. You demanded your independence, and now you are angry with the one who loved you enough to give it to you.
Ooh, that hits hard.
She says God doesn't just stop everything because love can't be forced.
Yeah.
Evil is the chaos that you brought to me.
It's a challenging perspective. It doesn't excuse suffering, but it frames it within the context of free will and its consequences.
And that's Mac's turning point, isn't it? His aha moment.
Yeah.
He realizes he doesn't want to judge anymore. He just wants to trust Papa.
He lets go of the need to have all the answers, maybe.
Seems like it. And then he gets that glimpse of Missy through a waterfall. She's happy. She signs, "I love you." It confirms her peace, and crucially, that she forgives him.
Which must have been an immense burden lift.
Imaginable. Sophia says, "This life is only the anteroom of a greater reality."
Sophia's role is key because she helps Mac confront his own anger without simply validating it as righteous. That line about demanding independence and then blaming God, it forces introspection.
Yeah.
And the view of forgiveness presented there is so important. It's not about saying the evil was okay or forgetting. Papa later describes it as letting go of another person's throat.
Releasing them.
Releasing them to God, essentially. It's an internal act. It's about Mac's freedom.
So armed with this new understanding, this release, Mac moves toward the physical act of forgiveness. He goes with Papa to find Missy's body, following the killer's markers.
The red arcs.
And the whole time he's whispering, "I forgive you, I forgive you."
Over and over. It shows forgiveness isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a process, a choice you keep making. Like Papa says, maybe 100 times a day at first.
Until one day, you realize you have. Then Jesus brings this casket he made. It's beautiful, etched with scenes from Missy's life, even the ladybug pin.
Showing God entering into the pain, redeeming even the symbols of trauma. And Missy helped choose the details. That's profound.
It really is. And they bury her in Seryu's garden, in Mac's soul, bringing that peace right into the heart of his wound. Seryu sings during the burial. Must have been incredibly moving.
That burial is the symbolic culmination, isn't it? Bringing the redemption found with God right into the deepest part of his own being, healing from the inside out.
After all this, Mac gets a choice. Stay there, in that amazing reality, or go back.
A tough choice.
He chooses to go back, not because he's suddenly fearless, but because he believes he can make a difference now. He trusts that Papa, Jesus, and Seryu will fill up your inside emptiness with joy unspeakable.
He's taking the relationship back with him.
Exactly. And Seryu gives him a gift for Kate, his daughter. Those collected tears, transformed into a sparkling stream. Kate can choose to share it or keep it locked away. A path to her own healing.
Offering choice, even in healing.
So Mac wakes up, back in the real world. First in a shack, then a hospital bed. Turns out he crashed his truck after leaving the shack the first time.
So the accident is real.
Yeah. Memory's foggy at first, but then it clears. It was real. All of it. Nan, his wife, she's skeptical, naturally.
You would be.
But she sees the change in him, his conviction. And when Max shares Seryu's gift, that image of the stream with Kate, reassuring her Missy's death wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
It breaks through her grief.
That connection, that shared healing is powerful.
And remarkably, it has real-world results. Missy's body is found where Papa showed him. The little lady killer is caught. Other victims are discovered.
So the spiritual journey had tangible consequences for justice in the world. It wasn't just an internal fantasy.
Right. It all connects.
And that integration is key. Mac's transformation isn't just a mystical memory. It changes how he lives, how he relates to Nan, to Kate, to his friend Willie. He moves from the great sadness to, as the book says, a profound sense of joy.
Not happiness necessarily, but joy.
Exactly, a deeper current. Willie notices it, this revolution of love and kindness in Mac. The quiet stuff, serving, loving, laughing, tenderness. That's the evidence of the change.
It shows that real transformation often isn't flashy. It's in the dailiness, the quiet shifts.
The unseen kindness.
Wow. What a journey, huh? From just crushing despair, sparked by a note leading to these completely unexpected encounters, it challenges so much about grief, God, justice. But it ultimately shows how relationship, how love, how faith, maybe a different kind of faith, can weave through even the absolute worst pain. It offers a way toward healing, a different way to exist in the world.
It really does. It reminds me of that line by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Earth's crammed with heaven, and every common bush afire with God.
But only he who sees takes off his shoes. The rest sit round it and pluck blackberries.
Precisely. Mac learned to see, to take off his shoes, in the most unlikely place. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. What would it mean for you to really take off your shoes? To look for and maybe see the divine fire in the common bushes of your own life, your own challenges? Where might heaven be crammed into your earth?